Our next guest has a very unique background, and we're so excited to have her on with us today. She is a psychology based subconscious expert, and she happens to be in a league of her own. She built a medtech company and is partnered with Pfizer. She's a true genius here, and she's going to be talking to entrepreneurs, business owners about how they're able to help, how she's able to help them enhance their business and their health through subconscious mastery. And so, without further ado, Christine, welcome. We're excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you. Well, tell us a little bit about you. Give us a little bit about your background.
Yes, so I started being a founder of a medtech company and we grew the company and everything looked very nice on the outside. We had this award-winning product. We were helping thousands of patients. We even had studies that proved the effect of the product.
Wow.
And everything was amazing from the outside, but going inside, it was a completely different story. No matter how hard we worked, we couldn't break beyond certain revenue ceilings. I was working a lot. I was super overwhelmed. I didn't know how to set any kind of boundaries.
Right.
And my body started to shut down. So I was diagnosed with burnout. I had chronic digestive issues. I had these joint pains. It got so bad that at one point I couldn't move my hand and my boyfriend had to do my hair. So
Oh.
imagine it was not it was not a good time.
No.
Yes, and that's when I started to look into a lot of different modalities because, of course, I didn't want to accept that. I wanted to heal.
Right.
And no matter what I tried, nothing really worked long term until I realized that all of these things were treating the symptoms, but never going down to the root. And that's when I discovered that the real root was in my subconscious, which was holding a lot of beliefs around success not being safe, that if I would make a lot of money, I would become one of these bad rich people,
Right.
that if I would be more visible, I would be judged. And so my subconscious was creating all of these issues that I had in my life.
Wow. Now, for the people who are listening who are more familiar with mindset, can you describe to us what the difference is between mindset and the subconscious work that you do?
Yes. So the mindset work works with the conscious mind, which is 5% of our cognitive capacity. The subconscious is the other 95%. So that's really where we store our identity, our safety patterns, how our nervous system reacts. That's why we store our money stories, visibility stories. In the end, our subconscious decides how we feel, what we think about, how we interact in our daily life. And so the mindset work mainly works with these 5%. But if you're subconscious, the other 95% are not on board. It's going to be really hard to actually make the changes that you want to make. An analogy that I always like to give is, imagine you're sitting in a boat and this boat is like you're moving forward. And if everything's good, you move forward consciously, like with the 5%. But if this boat would have a leak, you could shovel out the water as much as you wanted, like the water would always come in, no matter how much work you do. So that's what you do when you go into the subconscious. You fix that leak so that then actually everything else can work as well.
Wow. Now, a lot of business owners are thinking that they need more strategies, maybe. They're thinking that they might need another coach. And so you're saying that maybe it's an internal shift that needs to happen.
Yes, exactly. Like a lot of the people I work with, they're already doing all of the things. As you said, they invested in themselves, they're using all of the strategies, they're smart, they're disciplined. But the thing is, if your subconscious is not in alignment with the success that you want to create, it will protect you from that success that you're creating. So no matter what amazing strategy you have, it's always going to be filtered through your beliefs, through your subconscious. And the subconscious, well, if it says you can't make that amount of money, you're going to, in slight ways, sabotage yourself. You might procrastinate, you might not show up, or you just might not be clear in your messaging as well.
Okay. Now, when you started learning these methods and tools and started applying them in your business, you told us before you were having health issues and you were hitting revenue ceilings. I think one of the things that you shared with me was that your income increased by 4 times.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the other things that happened.
Yes, it was incredible. Like all of my health issues healed, like the joint pains that I mentioned, they from one day to the other they were gone. The digestive issues I had, the burnout in 2, 3 weeks, it was gone. We signed a major contract with a big pharma company, and my income quadrupled. So it was like crazy effects in a very short amount of time.
Wow. Wow. This is incredible. Now, take us through the process. So, what's your program called?
Mhm. My program is called Subconscious Mastery Membership, and we always start with creating awareness. So, in the awareness part, we use the subconscious scan, which is basically a diagnostic tool with which we identify the different beliefs that are running the show. And this is usually where entrepreneurs already get stuck because we're consciously trying to think about what is the beliefs that are actually running the show.
Right.
But in the subconscious scan, we measure. We measure what beliefs are active and how deeply they're rooted and what kind of patterns they create. And that takes only a few minutes. And once we have this baseline, we use a 14-minute reprogramming sequence to change one belief for another. So we could pull out, I'm afraid to be seen, and replace it with, it is safe to be seen.
Hmm.
And it works in 14 minutes. And it's not only a mindset change, like people feel it in their body, it's physiological. There's new neural pathways that are being built. And people usually feel a lot lighter afterwards, change like a weight has been lifted because it's the weight of this belief that has been keeping them stuck for so long.
Wow. Now, talk to me about some of the tangible effects. So, let's say an entrepreneur is having these revenue plateaus, they're not able to get clients to pay in full. People are not coming in, they're not being visible online. How does this system help them? Talk to us about how it could do that.
Yes, let me give you an example of a client. Juan, he's an Instagram growth coach, and he came to me with being like in these income roller coasters all the time. A lot of clients paying him in payment plans and not in full. And after just one session of reprogramming his beliefs, mainly from childhood around receiving and money, the very next day, a client who actually wanted to pay him with a payment plan paid him in full. And usually, when that happened, he felt like, wow, now I have a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure to actually deliver, but he just felt like open to receiving that client. And so a lot more
Wow.
clients came in afterwards paying in full. And
Wow.
we see that in so many other stories as well. Usually the sales conversions increase by 2 to 4% of people who start changing their subconscious, and they get more people paying in full, they get booked faster. For example, another person is Katie. She's also a client, and she came in with long-term anxiety, like that she had
Mm,
since childhood. And I imagine you want to grow your business or start your business with anxiety. It's very
right,
difficult.
right.
So after just 4 sessions of reprogramming, the anxiety was completely gone. She even said to me afterwards, like, what anxiety? I don't even know anymore. And after
Wow.
that, within just a few weeks, she got 2 long-term retainer clients and was fully booked in her business.
Wow. Now, what about the entrepreneur that's struggling with procrastination, which we see a lot? How could this help them?
Well, procrastination is the same. It's also rooted in the beliefs in our subconscious. So, an example is Natalie. She's a manifestation and embodiment coach, and she was procrastinating on this offer that she wanted to launch for months. And she came in, and we had one session where we reprogrammed her beliefs around that, and literally the procrastination was gone, and she launched her program. So any kind of like procrastination, repeating patterns, they always have their base in our belief systems in the subconscious.
Hmm. Now, you mentioned to me that this work could also help with world peace. Talk to me about your mission for world peace and how does subconscious mastery allow for that?
Yes, so we always believe that governments need to create peace or activists needs to fight for it. But in the end, the peace starts, if you look at human behavior, peace starts at the level of the nervous system. So the same patterns that are creating conflict within a human, which is around scarcity, fear, competition, are the same patterns that on a bigger level create conflict between groups and nations, which are literally creating the wars that we see in the world today. So once a person changes these internal patterns and starts to live and lead from peace, they are rippling this peace outwards. They become more compassionate, more collaborative. So it goes into all of their clients, their communities that they're working with. And there's research behind it. There is research on societal tipping points. One of them is very exciting, which is 25%. When 25% of a population act in a new way consistently, that
Mhm.
spreads to the entire population. And this has
Wow.
also happened in history before. There's many cases where you've seen this in different nations. So the question isn't anymore is world peace possible, but the question is really like how can we get to these 25% faster? And this is where entrepreneurs come in because they act in such extended networks. So if just an entrepreneur, if just a few entrepreneurs are leading from peace inside of
Mhm.
them, this creates a huge ripple effect. So entrepreneurs reprogramming their subconscious for peace are becoming the accelerator to these 25%, to this tipping point where world peace in our lifetime becomes possible.
Wow. So this is a very important mission.
Yes,
Very important.
this is the why I do this work. I mean, of course, I healed myself, and like if you look at like all of the external business outcomes, is amazing. Like we start to grow our business more, we are more healthy, but it goes so much bigger. Like we can, it's possible that we create peace in our lifetimes, and well, why not try?
Why not try? Absolutely. Now, for the people who are watching and wondering, well, could this work for me in 30 days? Could this work for me in 60 days? What would you tell them? How fast could this change their business that they could start seeing tangible results?
Well, you can see tangible results already after the first time that you're programming your subconscious, because what makes this method very unique is that every time you change the belief, we actually test for it. Your body
Mm.
gives a very specific sign if a belief is active or if it's not active. So every time you run a 14-minute reprogramming sequence, you go in and you test immediately if that belief has gone out. So there is no guessing or anything like this. No, you know that this shift has happened.
Mm.
And already from that shift, imagine you would reprogram, I'm not good enough. And now you feel good enough, how that changes your business. Because
Wow.
before, as you're being, I'm not good enough, you might not know how to raise your prices. You might not feel deserving of people paying you in full or showing up fully. But once you feel in your entire identity that you're good enough, you can raise your prices easily. You can show up with so much more confidence and authenticity. You're going to grow your business so much faster.
Okay. So let's use the example of an entrepreneur who's struggling with content creation. We see lots of this, the procrastination around it. They're not posting enough. What does this system do to help that entrepreneur? Could you walk us through what it could do for them?
Yes. So if it comes to any type of content creation showing up on social media, it usually has to do with beliefs around visibility. Visibility not being safe, being afraid to be judged, being afraid to be laughed at. And as long as someone is holding these beliefs, their nervous system, their body will always tense up once they're starting to show up.
Mm.
So we might freeze, we might procrastinate, we might just say, well, there's something more important to do. Let's not do content
Yeah,
today.
yeah, yeah.
But once we change that belief and we say, okay, now visibility is safe and I will be accepted and I will be loved when I'm visible in the way that I want to be visible, then we can start to show up more authentically. Our messaging becomes a lot clearer. What we often see is that within just a few weeks, new clients are coming in because we're starting to show up so much more like we truly are without being in this free state.
Okay. Well, now some entrepreneurs have ventured into manifestation. We talked about mindset, but how does subconscious reprogramming differ from manifestation? And do you see the two aligned in any way?
That's a very good question. So, manifestation, I think, is a very big term. There's a lot of different techniques under that umbrella. Subconscious reprogramming works very specifically and in a very precise way with the subconscious, which we use for manifesting and creating anything in our life.
Mhm.
So, it's one tool under this umbrella, but it's not like doing affirmations, for example, because if we do affirmations, we just repeat the sentences, and yes, we might manifest, but there is no guarantee because one of the things that affirmations does, it brings in new beliefs, but it doesn't clear out any beliefs. And what can happen in your subconscious is that you hold opposing beliefs. So you could
Mm.
hold, I'm successful and I'm not good enough. So you might show up, but then you freeze afterwards. You might raise your prices and then you might discount them again. And people don't do that because they're confused. It's because they have these opposing belief systems. And if we use affirmations, we bring in the new beliefs, but we're not cleaning out. What we do in subconscious reprogramming, we take out what's no longer serving you and replace it with what you need now to create more money, to be more visible, to increase your health, your energy, and make really sure that this is measurable and as fast as possible.
Wow, I love the science rooted in the method that you're teaching and the fact that it is indeed measurable. Now, for people who are listening now and wondering, well, do I have a subconscious issue or not? What would be some of the things that would be signs to let them know that there is not really a business problem, but there is more of a subconscious block in some way?
Yes. You can always check for if there's any kind of repeating pattern. So if you're, for example, are in this income roller coaster, you will have a repeating pattern. Your income goes up and it goes down and it goes up and it goes down. Or you have any kind of health issue that no matter what you do, it comes back. It repeats again and again. Or if you want to show up and be visible, you might be very excited and motivated, but then you start procrastinating and you do that again and again and again. Every pattern, there is a belief structure underneath
Mhm.
where we can, once we reprogram these beliefs, these repeating patterns are gone. We're not stuck in these old ways anymore. We can finally show up in the way that we want to show up.
And when they do that, they're starting to see results as fast as the 14 minutes.
Exactly. Like as fast as the 14 minutes, because that's how long it takes to reprogram a belief.
Wow.
And then, of course, this different or this new belief changes how you think, how you feel, how you act. So, literally, you could reprogram a belief around visibility and then go online and you feel immediately different. You feel more confident, you feel more
Mm,
magnetic, and show up in a completely different way.
okay. Well, tell us a bit more about the Subconscious Mastery program. What are they going to receive? What are some of the outcomes? Tell us a bit more about it for anyone that's wondering now what this involves.
Yes. So it's a membership where you get all of the important pieces that you need to be a master of your subconscious. So
Mm,
you get the subconscious scan where you create the awareness of what are the beliefs that are actually driving your patterns. Then you get all of the reprogramming sequences that you need to, in 40 minutes, reprogram any type of belief that's happening in your system. And of course, you also get the live support. So we have a lot of reprogramming sessions that we do in groups. We have hot seat reprogramming so that you're never stuck at no matter level that you're at and that you can move forward in the fastest possible way.
and what's the structure of the program? Is it a membership? Are they getting one to one? How is this?
Yes, it's a membership. So you get all of the sequences and tools on demand. Like once you signed up, you have everything available to you. And then in addition to that, you have the group reprogramming sessions, you have the hot seat reprogramming. You can share in the feed as well if you have any questions, so that then you get support in the moment.
Wonderful. Now, for anyone that's listening and you want to find out more about this, you can check out the QR code that we are going to be sharing with you. And here you'll find out more information about this membership, what it includes, what the prices are. And one of the things that I found so interesting about the work that Christine does is that the membership, is very affordable. It becomes something that everyone can invest in. And so it's definitely not something that you want to take time on. Now, Christine, any parting words for those who are excited about the possibility of having shifts in as little as 14 minutes? What would you tell these people?
Yes. So this membership is really for anyone who knows that they're capable of more, but there's some internal blocks that are holding you back, whether this is fear, self doubt, money blocks, burnout, or any kind of repeating patterns. This is where you come into the membership, and in as little as 90 days, sometimes it's even less, you'll identify and reprogram these root blocks that have been limiting your income, your visibility, your clarity, your health, and even your leadership capabilities. And afterwards, you walk away with the ability to change these patterns for the rest of your life. So if that's something that you want, scan the QR code or follow the link provided and come inside the space, because this is where measurable inner shifts then create the quantum business growth.
This is fantastic. And there's nothing better than being a part of a community of like minded people who are all trying to get to the same place. Because if there's one thing for sure, it's that community allows for shifts to happen even faster. Well, check out the QR code. And Christine, thank you so much for being on with us today.
Thank you as well.
Our next guest is here and has one of the most interesting backgrounds. Now, she has been in a male dominated industry and she's risen, she's broken barriers, she's done all the things. She's happened to walk through divorce and identity loss and then had her own reinvention and rebirth. And then she built her own business that started making more money than ever. And she created all of this from a place of safety, from a place of peace and joy. And she started designing this life that she truly loved and decided that she was going to take the same steps that she'd use and created a method for other women to create their life by design for whatever it is that they're looking to achieve. So now she teaches manifestation and identity, and how using these two tools can allow women to achieve the most money they've ever made before, have the most booming business. She's taught them how they can call in the relationship of their dreams, change their self-image, their bodies, and so much more. Well, welcome. I'm so excited to have you with us, Tamra. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, tell us a little bit about you and your background.
So my background is in finance. So I have been in the male dominated industry for, almost 25 years now. So it's a long time. And through my whole process of, meeting with women and helping them rebuild their lives from a financial standpoint after different situations like divorce or, becoming widowed or widowers, there's this whole process that we go through to reclaim our identity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really a transformational process, and it takes us all through a different phase of life, but we have to switch our mindset and to be able to step into our new identity,
Mm-hmm.
into our new lives and create it and design it.
Well, I find that most of the time that women start businesses helping other women, especially, it's from lived experience.
Yes.
So tell me about your life and what prompted you to start using these methods yourself. What was it that you were going through?
So there's been many moments in my life, just like with most women, that we go through different areas, that are of discontent. We'll say that. But there
Right.
was one in specific situation, and that's when I was married for a very long time. I had gone through a divorce. I was married for over 20 years. And from the outside looking in, my entire life looked stable. It looked picture perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But if you took the picture off the wall or out of the frame, behind that picture was chaos. And so my life felt uncertain. I didn't know, exactly if I had the steadiness under me to go forward, but what I wanted was peace.
Right.
And I wanted to be able to trust myself again, and I wanted to create a life and manifest a life that I truly desired. What I realized during that time was I was just surviving. I wasn't thriving, and I wanted to feel alive, and I wanted to step into my power. And so when I chose peace, when I chose myself, and I chose the woman I wanted to become, then everything switched over for me.
Well, walk us through it. So how did how did you use manifestation and identity to make more money,
Mhm.
to have a home that you absolutely loved, and you kept your home in the divorce,
I did.
right? How did you, have the best body ever, and just how did all this happen?
So I really put in different modalities. So I use different types of therapies, from neurolinguistic programming, cognitive behavior therapy. You hear, oh, you can just manifest by saying, I want this, or toss it out there. And you really have to do the work. So you have to have the discipline, you have to have the consistency. And at the end of the day, we all want stability. We
Mm-hmm.
all want to be able to trust ourselves, trust our power. And we can't do that if we don't know who we are. And so having the discipline allowed me to be able to step into the identity of knowing who I am, being able to have peace, being able to know that I didn't have fear around losing everything, because I had come out of this long marriage and now I'm starting over in a way. Even though I had things that were stable, it was still shaky ground.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to put different standards in place for myself, different boundaries, and that really helped me create my identity. And once I stepped into my new identity, I was able to manifest the life that I wanted.
Well, you're using the word manifest, and
Yes.
a lot of women have had experiences with some type of manifestation. They've done
Yes.
journaling or they've done the visualizations, and they might be listening right now and saying, that did not work. Maybe I'm broken, or maybe
Yes.
the process is broken. What would you say to that?
Women aren't broken. What happens is we get this idea of manifestation or visualization or whatever you want to call it, and you do it for a week or a couple of days, and you're like, oh, it didn't work. Let's throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
But women aren't broken. What happens is it's easier to live the life you've been living year after year. So you wake up and now it's 2026 and nothing changed. So we're not only living years, but sometimes decades in the old identity that no longer serves them. So they're playing small and they haven't stepped into it. So it's not because they lack potential, they're just staying stuck in their old identity. So they need to switch that and they need to put in different modalities to help them get to a new level. So that's why it doesn't stick because they didn't truly go through the process. So that's why our process takes 3 months.
Well, talk to me about the analogy that you've used before about the thermostat.
Yes.
I love this one. This might bring it home for them.
So with the thermostat setting, think about living on when you put your car in to drive and you have the autopilot setting, where
Right.
it's just going to drive, you don't have to think about it. A lot of us live life on autopilot. So we have this thermostat within ourselves that always goes back to its natural setting. So if you're existing at 70 degrees, for example, and let's say you're having a banging week, your job's going really well, maybe you have, went on a date with your man or your girl or whatever it is,
Yeah.
you're having the best week, and then you're like, whoa, this feels too good. So your system is naturally going to set yourself back to 70. It's like 80 is too good. We need to go back to our natural setting. We need to go back to autopilot because autopilot's safe. That's what keeps us with not having to be like, ooh, this is too good or I don't deserve it. Because that's what happened with the thermostat. When you get too high, you're like, that's when you self-sabotage. That's when you bring in, your mind starts to, all that negative thinking creeps in
And then you sabotage the manifestations.
every time
Every time the manifestations are sabotaged.
because it's too good.
A lot of people listening can probably relate to that.
Yeah.
So, talk to me about your method. You came up with this method, the moon method. Tell us about it. What's it like?
So the moon method is built on a core truth that you cannot manifest if you don't switch your identity. It's built on identity first. It's rooted in that process. So it's hard to go through that sometimes, but we help women through this every day. We go through 4 different phases, and it really gets to the root cause of their identity.
Well, let's walk through the phases. So, the first phase that we have is the releasing phase. What's happening in the releasing phase?
So the releasing phase is amazing because this is when we release those old patterns, we release the habits, the emotional loops you go through, and we really think about where they've been and where they want to go. There's no good or bad in this process. It's just we need to let go what no longer serves them in order to step into a new identity. And we use the different modalities. So we do journaling, we do neuro-linguistic programming, cognitive behavior therapies.
Okay.
We have the mantras, but you have to apply them for them to stick and to work. So we're releasing what they thought they might have been up to this point. And identity is based on a lot of different things. It's based upon survival mode. Maybe you went through an accident or you had a loss, family relationships. Like I'm one of 5. I'm the middle child. So that's in my identity. Like I'm the middle child, right? It may be based upon friendships or an old relationship. So your identity is based upon all these external factors.
Right.
So we need to release that in order to move forward.
Okay. So then we move from releasing to reclaiming.
Yes. So we were reclaiming our power and our self-trust. So money is a perfect example. I'm not good with money. I don't know what, at the end of the day, my money is all gone, or I don't know how to save. I'm never going to be able to retire, all this stuff, because they don't look at it. And so we're reclaiming the power to look at it. It's this fear that we get rid of in order to reclaim their power. And it's reclaiming their power in their business, in their families,
Mhm.
and in their love, all of it. Reclaim the power. And that's trust
Yeah.
within yourself.
And then after that, they move into the receiving phase.
Receiving is a beautiful phase.
Mm.
So think about it like this. If you ever get a compliment, we've all heard this with women. Oh, I love your outfit. And there's a thank you, but. So we're getting rid of the but, and we're
Mm.
saying just thank you and taking it in, because
Wow.
once you're able to receive, then you can receive the love. Then you can receive the success because you feel that you're worthy of it. So love, for example, if you feel you're not worthy of it, your man comes home, your lady comes home, and you're like, oh, that spaghetti was cooked wrong, and you start a fight. You're self-sabotaging. You're sabotaging that. So instead of thinking you're not worthy, you receive it.
Receive. So we then move from receiving to rewriting.
Yes. So this is a beautiful moment where we write our story. We anchor in our new identity. So we take everything we've gone through and we rewrite who we want to be going forward. And in only doing that, getting to the root identity and anchoring it in, because you have to anchor it in, that's when we can step into our new areas of manifestation and truly calling in the life that we want.
Okay. So a lot of women are already attempting to do some form of manifestation.
Yes.
And now you're telling us that we're going to fix the identity piece first and then go back to the manifestation or do them in tandem. And so let's talk about the process. The moon method is 90 days.
Yes.
So that's not a long time, which is great because now we can get results. Let's talk about what tangible results can happen in these 90 days. So let's talk about first body. So a woman that wants to transform her body, what can we do in 90 days?
So they say it takes 21 days to create a habit, right?
Right.
So in 90 days, we can take these women and they can transform their bodies. They're going to be eating healthier,
Right.
based upon their needs, because everybody's got a different diet these days.
Right.
They're going to have a consistent method to, if they want to be fit, they just want to tone up.
Right.
It could just be putting in a habit to walk 15 minutes a day. Simple steps. It's one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can truly transform their well-being within that time frame.
Okay. And then let's talk relationships.
Yes.
So let's say we've got someone who's in a partnership right now, or we've got someone who's looking for a partnership. In 90 days, what are we getting?
So in 90 days, we've seen relationships transform. So maybe you just got a divorce, you're getting into a new relationship, what have you. You're bringing in the ability to communicate better. You're setting your boundaries, what you're going to tolerate, what you're no longer going to tolerate, what no longer serves you.
Right.
So you're going to be able to see that in your relationships. And we go through relationship patterns with our ladies, and they're able to see it, and they're going to see what they want. You know, it might be like, oh, well, my boyfriend calls me all the time and he wants to be all the, well, where did you learn that? And why do you think that's bad? Well, this lady, her parents traveled all the time. So her parents would only speak like twice a week, and that's what she was used to. So she got annoyed that her boyfriend wanted to talk to her every day because it wasn't what she was used to. So we just helped her see in a different way that this is how you can step into a new relationship. So it's just eye-opening.
Wow. Now, let's talk business. So if someone has a business or they're wanting to start a business, which are a lot of people watching, how does this program help them in 90 days?
Well, you step into your power. You're no longer shrinking, questioning my value, my worth. So we've seen women increase their income. If they're an entrepreneur, they've been able to raise their prices. If they're have a salary position, for example, they know the value they bring to the company, so they're able to get higher bonuses or ask for a raise in a salary. I had one woman most recently, she started her own construction company because she saw the value in herself finally. And she'd had trauma, she'd gone through survival identity, holding on to a loss that she'd had, and she was able to release it and step into her new identity. And so she started a flourishing construction company.
Wow. Well, it sounds like this moon method is really for every woman, right? It's for
Can be.
yeah. I mean, it's for women who are going through transition, right? It's for women who are maybe business owners, women who are wanting to establish new relationships or new boundaries. What about the woman, though, that feels like she has it all, right? She doesn't think that she has any money issues, her relationships on lock, her body's good, but maybe she's got so much that she's doing and she's always running on autopilot. Maybe she has just a little tinge of anxiety. How does this work for her?
See it all the time
Mm-hmm.
because we have so much going on in our lives that we forget who we are. So we put ourselves on the back burner and put everybody else ahead of us, be it our children, I've done it, our husbands or boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Put everybody else ahead of ourselves. So we get back to centering with ourselves. And for the woman who has everything, she still wants more. There's this aching inside of her that there's something that she wants more of. And so we help her tie back into that feeling and help them discover. And we've had women totally transform. Like they wanted to travel, now they're going to travel because they're putting themselves first.
Mm. Mm.
So it's really, they have everything, but they've lost themselves somehow in the process.
And that's something a lot of people can relate to. Absolutely. So if someone joins the Moon Method, what are they getting? What are they receiving?
So it's a 90-day program, and we take them through a lot of processes. So there's week by week broken down. They get every week. They get a call. It's a group call. They get an onboarding call. So we tie into who these women are on an individual basis.
Wow.
Find out what makes them tick, what past experiences that they've encountered. And so we can tailor the program somewhat specifically to them, even though we're in a group program.
Mm-hmm.
We bring in different specialized coaches from the body to the mind. We do the different modalities. So we help them anchor in these new identities during that time frame. They have a journal. So we call it the Go Journal, because it's one thing to make goals, right? Everyone's like, oh, it's 20, whatever year it might be, I'm going to make these new goals.
Right.
But they never do them. So we go and do things with our ladies. So, we work on different aspects every week that help move them forward. And we have building blocks each and every week.
So for anyone that wants to find out more about the Moon Method, you have an opportunity now to scan the QR code that you see there. You'll find out more about the details of the offer, how you can work with Tamara, and there you go. We can't wait to see you inside the Moon Method. Now is always the right time. Now's the time to join and be a part of this beautiful community. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So our next guest is for the entrepreneur ladies in the house. You've got to watch this one. Now, she comes with a very unique background of psychotherapy and high-level corporate sales. What a unique combination. It's Relly, and we're so excited to have her. So she's used to managing multi-million-dollar contracts with corporate sales, and now she's helping women use psychology and sales techniques to get premium clients, to close offers faster, to be able to make more sales while spending more time with their families and living the lives that they love. And what I love about her is that she has made sales feel very honest, very natural, very easy, and just a part of life and business that allows women to revert back to enjoying the businesses that they began founding all along. And so without further ado, we're going to welcome Relly to the program.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're thrilled to have you. So give us a little bit of background about you.
Yeah, so you said it. It's an interesting combination, right? You don't really find too many therapists that have sales backgrounds. But I did. I've really been in the behavioral health space for well over 20 years, so my entire career. And I started in corporate, managing multi-million-dollar contracts, like you mentioned. And something that I found really fascinating was that contracts and deals, they weren't won through metrics and goals and all of this focus on, pressure tactics. They were actually won through psychology, through understanding the clients and understanding their strengths, their beliefs, and their values. And then you get to therapy. And as a therapist, I know that you can't take a one-size-fits-all approach to mental health. And clients, they want similar results, right? But how they get to those results, whether it's less depression, less stress, all of those things. When they get there, they have to get there on their own. And that's
Mhm.
through their strengths and through understanding those decision styles and their beliefs. So I did that and I combined both of those worlds to really put together a program that helps women entrepreneurs. Because when I got to this space, I found that they were just not really honoring their individuality or their values or their beliefs. They're kind of just blending in with the rest of the social media world. And I noticed that they're working harder and they're relying on funnels and, scripts and templates that don't sound like them. So I put together a system that really helps them just sell the way they naturally communicate. And that's clearly, intelligently, and with authority. They don't have to work as hard.
Absolutely. That sounds fantastic. Well, tell me, what is the current sales advice that you think women are getting? Okay, that's not getting them the results that they want. I mean, women are thinking they're bad at sales. Are women bad at sales?
They're so not bad at sales. We're not bad at sales, not at all. The sales industry teaches women to perform, just sales, in general. It's very performative. And, you've got these templates and these just pressure tactics, things like objection handling. And then you add TikTok challenges and this pressure in social media. And we feel like circus performers, right? So it just takes away the natural rhythm of the way that we communicate, and that makes it difficult. You add AI to the conversation, and then people sound even more like everybody else because they're using scripts and templates and prompts that don't sound like them. So what I have found is that when we remove the pressure to perform, when we remove the pressure of using AI to try and sound like you, women actually rise to the occasion. They lean on their natural rhythm of communication and they're able to actually sell with more confidence, feel more comfortable, and get more sales. More people will say yes to you if they just connect with you and trust you.
So the women that you're working with, what are you seeing are the problems that they're currently facing? So I'm assuming one is inconsistent sales.
Inconsistent sales is definitely one of them. But one of the main reasons is they're trying to spend everywhere online all at the same time. And when you're everywhere, you're nowhere. Okay, so I've actually dubbed this the octopus effect with my clients. So that means you've got tentacles. Just imagine an octopus and you've got tentacles literally everywhere. And, newsletter and, marketing and all of these things. But again, when you're everywhere, you're nowhere. That steals your time. That steals your energy. So my clients spend 60 minutes a day on pulling the right levers, which are visibility. You have to be seen by the right people because those right people are the ones that are going to say yes to you. Connection. We have to connect with the right people so that they can say yes. Now, one thing that I do is I actually have them create touch points, not just with new leads coming in. A lot of coaches just teach lead generation, and lead generation is wonderful, but we have existing clients. Existing clients, they already trust you. They already love you.
Right.
So they make the best buyers. And then past clients. Past clients also, they trust you. They love you. You've done something for them. And then the final lever is decision momentum. So how those clients are going to get to the yes, and you practice those newfound skills on behavioral patterns and pulling on those emotional levers that get the right buyer to say yes to you faster.
So we've got to clarify for a second. You mentioned 60 minutes.
Yes,
So in 60 minutes a day, a person can increase their revenue by 2, 3, maybe 4 times.
absolutely. Because you are focusing, it's about precision. It's not about performance, it's about precision. Pulling on those right levers so that you're spending the time on revenue generating tasks versus performance. And again, the TikTok challenges and all of those things. And if you like to do that, that's wonderful. But for a lot of women, again, it takes away just their natural rhythm of communication. They avoid having conversations. And the way we get clients is through conversations, ladies. So we have to have conversations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Talk to me about your DM system. The DM system is a part of your offer,
Yes.
right?
Yes, absolutely. So we encourage, it goes back to creating those touch points. We have to create the right touch points with the right clients. So I have a system that I've done the DM to yes a system so that you don't have to cold outreach. We don't have to spam people. Nobody likes to get cold spam DMs. I know you get them. I get them all the time. Nobody likes that. So the system that I've created actually gets people to DM you through your content, through your message, because once we establish that, then the right people are attracted to you. Then you start those conversations, you create trust. We leverage on those behavioral patterns, on those emotional levers that get people to say yes. It feels natural because ultimately, a bright woman once told me that conversations or sales are just conversations that lead to transactions. So it's really just having a conversation with someone.
Absolutely. Okay, so your framework is called the selling shift.
Yes.
And for the people who are watching that are entrepreneurs that have tried the courses, the programs, they've done all the things, they really care about the tangible results. So somebody joins the selling shift, and in 30 days, what do they get?
So in 30 days, you're going to get that premium sales activation system that we talk about. And it really starts with 6 to 12 premium conversations per month. And getting higher retention rates with the people that you currently have and also higher conversions. So again, we use this a 1 hour a day, very precision, and we focus on leveraging your strengths so that we could get there.
And from this, what types of results do you think they could see within their income? How much could their income increase?
So I've had women that have gone from a $297 offer. We've reframed her whole offer and she sold it for $2K
Wow.
in a DM without even getting on a sales call because we elevated her premium offer to premium status. And that just means we focus on transformation. A lot of people, premium clients, they do not want all the bells and whistles and a bunch of PDFs that are going to take more room in their computer, right? They just want transformation. How do I get there? And how do I get there faster? So we upped her premium offer. We showed her how to speak of that, what to say, how to say it to the right person. And it just naturally happened. So the most amazing thing is that 2K client actually became a 4K client. So that speaks again to that existing clientele that we have because they already trust you, they already love you, so they're going to buy. We just have to create more opportunities for them to do so.
Wow. So are we saying that someone watching right now might not even have a high ticket offer? They've got a $297 offer. And after working with you, they're going to be able to maybe create a premium offer and be able to sell this without ever taking a sales call.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it goes back to creating those touch points. And that could be on a sales call and that could be on a DM. A lot of people, they utilize DMs, but they're not optimizing the DM system. And that's something that I work with my clients on. We connect with people. It actually helps other entrepreneurs and, speak with their own time, really keeping up with their own time. So it's time efficient for everybody.
Now, what about the entrepreneurs who are moms? I know that you are a mom, I'm a mom. And so moms that are entrepreneurs are sometimes spending so much time working in their business, right? Even though they started this business so they could have more time.
Yes.
How do you help them reclaim their time back with their families, their self-care time back? How do we get there?
So think about this. If you have 1 hour a day, right? Think of everything that you're doing as a mom. I'm a mom of 30. So I know, and I know we've always connected on this. So, you think of all of the things that we do when the octopus tentacles, we have to be everywhere at the same time. And then you add our business to it and all the tentacles that have to go into that business.
Right.
1 hour a day is really all that this requires. And if you're consistent, because we can consistently be inconsistent, okay?
Sure.
So when we're consistent with the right things, and this is what this is about, precision, we have to be very smart with our time. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help you get there so that you can only spend the 1 hour a day. And that's going to result in major shifts for you. That's why it's called the selling shift.
100%. And what I would say is one of the things that I see on my end is that a lot of entrepreneurs are spending lots of time doing non-revenue generating activities.
Yes.
And then they're complaining that they're burnt out and they're tired and they're anxious that sales aren't closing. But of all the hours in the day, how much time are they spending doing activities that could actually generate revenue?
So many hours. Oh my goodness. So I can speak to this because I've been there, right? And the wonderful thing about this is that I've put this together because I've been there and I've suffered through it. I don't want you to suffer. So you don't have to suffer. I already suffered. And this is why I came up with the 1 hour. The 1 hour works, right? Because so many women are spending so much time. And like you said, they went into this wanting time freedom and they end up being chained to their businesses and they lose the joy of it. You know, once you lose the joy in what you're doing, the purpose in what you're doing, it doesn't become purposeful anymore. It just becomes like another thing on your to-do list. And if you're a mom, you already have enough things going on. You don't need another, you know.
Another thing. Absolutely. Well, one of the things that I really admire about you and your specific business is that you approach this, as we talked about earlier, with this unique background in psychology and having been an executive in sales. So let's now dive into the sales piece. From what you learned, well, first set us up. How long have you been in executive sales? What types of contracts were you working with? And how have those skills set you up to help entrepreneurs now, specifically with sales?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I was in corporate America for, well over, 15 years. And I've always been in the behavioral health, population health management. So the contracts that I dealt with were in the healthcare realm. And we had to understand the behavioral patterns of our population. So we already kind of had that rhythm of behavioral patterns and understanding what are the drivers behind a population. So naturally, that translates to our clients. We would understand what their natural rhythm is for saying yes, and what made the best relationships. And the best relationships in corporate America were really based on understanding what those psychological factors were. Things like company culture, right? Things like just their company values, how they operate as a company. You could have two companies on two separate, two clients of ours that were companies on two separate ends of the country, and they would want similar outcomes, but how they would get there would be completely different.
Wow.
So that's what is so interesting about sales, and that's what is so important for women to understand about sales is that you cannot take a one-size-fits-all approach. There's a skill set that goes behind understanding who your client is, what they need, and how can you link them to what you have, the purpose that you have, the service that you have to that person, and how can you get there fast and in their own, their own.
Well, and talk us through in the selling shift, how does this work? Are people getting one-on-one attention with you so you can help personalize something to them? Is it group?
Absolutely. So I do one-on-one. So the support that they get is one-on-one.
Wow.
I spend a lot of time with my clients. That's the one thing that they love is that you don't have to be in this journey alone. Being an entrepreneur, I will say the number one thing I get is burnout. But the number two that I get from clients is how lonely it is. And, loneliness can also emotionally, it can stunt your growth.
Right.
So one thing with the level of support that I give, they get that level of support so that it's happening real time. They're not felt like they're running their businesses on their own. And I'm there every step of the way, right down to sales conversations. So they're not left going, what do I do?
Wonderful. Now, you talked about how different clients that might want the same outcome, will achieve things differently. You talked about this in the healthcare space. So talk to me about what are people who want to sell high ticket, let's say. If they want to sell high ticket, what do high ticket customers want? And how do we sell to them differently than maybe the low ticket client that they're selling to now? Because they're trying to apply the same tactics and it's not working.
It's not. Okay, so absolutely. Premium clients, high ticket clients, however you call it, at the end of the day, they want a transformation. They do not want, more stuff. They don't want fluff. They don't want features. So the way that we have to speak to them is we have to speak to them from a transformation level. And in order to do that, again, we have to understand, well, what drives you? What drives your the need for transformation is not just about the transformation that they want. Remember, everybody can want a similar result. Everybody wants more time in their lives. Everybody wants more money. Everybody wants more health. We all want very similar outcomes, but how we get there is going to be different. I have to honor who you are. I have to honor your beliefs and your values as a client and what drives you. And if I don't understand that, then how am I going to help you get there? So that's the difference between a premium client, because other clients that aren't premium, they're focused more on specific goals and, give me a template, give me a sheet, give me a course, and I'll get it done. And that's fine. But for premium sales, we have to get to the transformation and how we get them there quick, because nobody wants help 3, 5, 6 months from now. They want it done now.
Absolutely. Now, what about the people who are watching who maybe already have a mastermind? Maybe they're already successful with that. They've got a successful coaching practice and people are in their programs right now. How can they get those people to reactivate or re-sign or be upsold before that contract ends?
You are sitting on gold. If you already have a mastermind, if you already have, even I would say an email list of people that have already worked with you, you can leverage that because it's a connection of someone that already knows you. They already trust you. They already know you can give some sort of transportation. So for you, your job in that moment is to create those opportunities. So we have to be flexible on how we create those opportunities, and we can get creative how to create those opportunities. So I would say don't box yourself in a cookie cutter method, and why this is so important to honor the person and what their needs are, because there's probably more that you could do for them than what you've already done.
Mm. And now, how do they find out what they can do to reactivate these clients when they're in the selling shift? How do you get them there?
So we're going to spend, I'm going to understand your business from the inside out, and I'm going to see what your natural rhythm of communication is now. And based on that, I'm going to find whatever your strength is when it comes to communication style, and we are going to create those touch points with those existing clients. And again, it's about creating those opportunities for them, so they know that they can get more than what they're already getting. So it sounds like a natural conversation. You're not just going to spam, your email list and say, hey, I've got something else going on. No, it has to be, one-on-one, checking in and having it be natural.
Right. And of course, you'll customize this experience for them inside of the selling shift.
Absolutely, which is why I do one-on-one and why I work very, one-on-one with my clients, because everyone is going to be different and the way that we activate those clients is going to differ. So it is customizable. I'm sure by now you can tell I don't do cookie cutter approach. It has to be based on the individual.
This makes a lot of sense. And this is definitely a way that people can get unstuck in their business and get faster momentum, especially with these customized one-on-one approaches.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would say on day one, they get unstuck on day one because the goal is clarity. People are searching for clarity. And when we've got so many things and we're distracted by the online world, our attention spans are getting shorter, as a population. And when we are clear, when we are focused, when we tap into our nature and honor who we are, we can get so much done. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Wow. And the last question I'll ask you is this. What about the women who don't love being on social media? They don't want to post another video. They don't want to make another carousel. They don't want to do any of the things. How can you help them?
So I've got really, really good news for you. You do not have to perform on social media. I use an organic approach to social media. And, one magnetic post is what drives people in. Once we tap into that clarity and that message and your decision styles, again, then all of those things are going to drive people to you. You do not have to post 30 stories a day.
Great.
You don't have to, yeah, you don't have to post, all these, in different platforms, because again, when we're everywhere, we're nowhere.
Absolutely. Well, for anyone that is interested in finding out just a little bit more about the selling shift and they want to go all in with Relly, or if you know you want to go all in, then the time is now and you should click the QR code. So scan this, click the link, and you'll find out more about this. I mean, Relly has a fantastic background, a really unique approach. I've seen a lot of things in business, and this one is different. So definitely check out the QR code. And so, Relly, it's been fantastic to have you here.
Thank you for having me.